Hare Krishna. Soon, on 5th April, we are going to celebrate Shri Shri Ram Navami, the divine appearance day of Lord Ramchandra. As we know, the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes to this material nature from time to time in order to establish dharma. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there is a decline in religious principle, the Lord comes to establish the principle of dharma. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami juge juge. So in Treta Yuga, the Lord appears as Sri Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra is the Marjada Purushottam, whereas Krishna is the Leela Purushottam. The Marjada Purushottam, Sri Ramchandra, establishes Marjada, the standard of morality, the standard of virtue, which is established very, very strictly by his own example. Through his own examples, he establishes the principles of dharma. And we see that his entire life is a perfect example to be followed. That is the difference between Ramchandra and Krishna Chandra. Krishna is Leela Purushottam. Krishna is acting according to his own sweet will. Whatever he wants, in whichever way he wants to enjoy, he is just doing that. Whereas Lord Ramchandra is not really concerned about his own desire, his own enjoyment. For the sake of the benefit of others, in order to establish the proper example, he is acting. And we find his life, his entire life is such a wonderful example of that. Like the day he was supposed to be coronated, he was sent on exile. Not exactly sent, he voluntarily accepted that. Nobody, although his stepmother wanted that he should go out in exile in order to pave the way for his younger brother Bharat to succeed the throne. And his father was reluctant to even accept that condition. Actually, his father was bound with his commitment to his stepmother. At some point, when his father was extremely pleased with his stepmother, Kaikeyi, he asked her to ask for 2 boons. But at that time, Kaikeyi said, "You have given me everything. I don't need anything." So, but then Maharaj Dasharath told her that, okay, if someday if you want to have anything from me, just ask. So she held him on those 2 commitments. And she wanted that Bharat, her son, should become the king, and Ram should go in exile for 14 years. And when Ramchandra got to know that, he, in order to uphold the words of his father, he decided to go to the forest. And then we see like how he acted all throughout. He went to the forest. Bharat, when he got to know what happened, in the meantime, Dasharath, due to the feeling of intense separation from Ram, Dasharath left his body. Bharat was not in Ajodhya at that time. He was not in the capital. He was in his uncle's house. And so when he got the news, he was extremely upset. He became extremely angry with his mother. And Bharat himself went to the forest to bring Ram back. But Ram refused. He didn't want to come back. And eventually Bharat made him give him his shoes, wooden shoes. So Bharat came back to the kingdom with Lord Ramchandra's shoes, and putting those shoes on the throne, Bharat actually ruled the kingdom for 14 years. So this is another example of nobility and virtue. Like, as a matter of fact, sometimes it is considered that Bharat's sacrifice was even greater than Ramchandra's. Because Ramchandra was in a forest leading the life of an ascetic. Whereas Bharat, he was living in the kingdom, ruling the kingdom, and he was leading the life of an ascetic. He slept on the floor, he took only fruits, he never combed his hair, his hair became matted, and he was living his life of a perfect ascetic. Then, of course, we have to remember that these are the Lord's pastimes. Through his pastimes, he is setting the perfect example. Then we see that Sita was stolen by Ravan, kidnapped by Ravan. So Lord Ramchandra rescues Sita. Practically, with the help of the monkeys, he defeated Ravan, the most powerful personality of that time, the most powerful ruler of the time. He was so powerful that he even defeated the demigods. But who can stand up against the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So Ravan was killed. Again, we have to remember that this is just his pastimes. And Ravan was killed, Sita was rescued. But then Sita was made to go through a fire test to prove her purity, because she was kidnapped and she was in the custody of the demoniac king. So people could have questioned her purity, chastity. And so her chastity, her purity was tested by going through this fire test. She walked through the fire. And because of her purity, she was not actually affected by fire. And then we see, like, in one hand, Ram goes through so many difficulties, so much trouble to rescue Sita. But when some low-class person expressed his doubt about Sita's purity, and Ramchandra got to know that, Ramchandra banished her to the forest. As Prabhupada used to say, that the Caesar's wife should be beyond any doubt. So Ramchandra literally proved that, like, his queen has to be beyond anybody's doubt. And so then Sita was put into exile again, like she was sent to the forest. She was pregnant. What a sacrifice. And here we can see that no other person can set such example, make such sacrifice. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can set such examples. And in this way we see that Lord Ramchandra set such a beautiful standard for everyone to follow. Therefore Prabhupada said that Krishna's activity should not be imitated. But if anybody wants, he can imitate Lord Ramchandra's activity, Lord Ramchandra's examples, or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's examples, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also acting as a devotee. He is not acting as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas Ramchandra, although acting as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is setting the perfect example. And in this way, Lord Ramchandra came to this planet to teach us what kind of life one should lead. Especially a leader should lead. A king should lead. Therefore, Lord Ramchandra's reign is famous as Ram Rajya, the reign of Lord Ramchandra. That was the perfect example of an ideal king, how to rule his kingdom. In his kingdom, everybody was perfectly happy. And Lord Ramchandra treated every single citizen as his own son. Or maybe you can say that even more than his own son. And that is the responsibility that a ruler has, that is the responsibility a leader has. That his own life should be a perfect example, and he must treat his followers with utmost care and concern. And then only he can expect his followers to give their own lives for his sake. So let us celebrate Lord Ramchandra's appearance by trying to follow his example as a perfect human being, as a perfect king, as a perfect ruler, as a perfect leader. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.